Welcome to the Profit Share Mastery Podcast with your hosts, Linda and Press McKissick.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Profit Share Mastery Podcast. I'm Linda McKissick.
And I'm Press McKissick.
Hey, Press, how are you?
Hey, Linda, I'm doing great. I'm excited about our guest today.
I'm super excited about our guest. He might be one of mine and your favorite people, you think?
He's up there.
He's up there. Awesome. Well, hey, before we get started, I think you had some people reach out and we had some pretty darn good wins to share. So share those real quick and then we'll bring Marc on.
I did. I wanted to share a couple wins real quick. We've been working with some awesome partners around growing their wealth. And I want to give a couple shout outs. Chad has added 31 people to his downline in 6 months.
Go, Chad.
Brian Bernard has added 30 people to his downline in the last 6 months. Heather Fisher has added 20 since July, and Robert Bell, which our guest will know, has added 9. It's pretty amazing.
I love it. And I think Robert was our previous podcast interview, which I loved because a lot of times employees don't see how they can build their profit share, and he's just blowing it out of the water.
Yeah, super cool. We're proud of all of them. They're doing great work.
Awesome.
Well, what's also exciting, Linda, is who our guest is today. So I am excited to announce that today's podcast guest is none other than KWRI President, Mr. Marc King. Marc, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited to be here.
Thanks for being here. And as you know, it's Profit Share Mastery, so it's all things profit share. So why don't you kick us off, Marc? Tell everyone who you are, and if they don't already know who you are, which they do, and your journey around profit share.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. I've been here at Keller Williams since 2001, so 21 years.
Wow.
Linda, you joined in 97. When did you join?
Actually, like 93.
Okay, so you were a full 8 years ahead of me.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, Press, because one of the first things I met Mo Anderson, and one of the first things I said to her is, "Man, I really missed the boat. There's already 12,000 agents in this company, and I wish I would have got in on the ground floor." Little did we know we'd have 177,079 people today, right? But it's always fun to talk about this revisionist history we have, because you all know me very well and we've worked together for a long time. I like to say that I'm the person who makes the most mistakes in the company, and I make them very fast, and sometimes they're really big and sometimes they're really small. But we honor that here where entrepreneurs thrive, and we A/B test a lot. So my mistake with profit share was thinking I had already missed my opportunity. Really, for the first 7 years, I'd built the #1 sales business in my market using Gary's teaching and red book that I still use to this day. I built the #1 sales business in my market, and my profit, I still didn't have any profit share. And I didn't see the value in it, because in those days, if you remember, Linda, it was more of a promise of the future. It was more of a dream.
Yeah.
It was less tangible. And I remember my whole goal, I had a StarTAC flip phone, and my whole goal was to get my $57 monthly cell phone bill covered with profit share. And when that didn't happen immediately, because I referred someone to my team leader, and I didn't suddenly have my cell phone bill paid. I was like, this doesn't work, and I left it at that. And it wasn't really until 2012, 2013 that I actually started focusing on profit share. And I'll admit, the last several years, I've been focused on building everybody else's profit share. So in that time, in 2013, I added something like 30 people to the first level of my profit share tree total. And today I believe there's 17 in that first level. I'm somewhere around 600 total. And my profit share in my house is around $60,000 per year. And the reason that I say in my house is, and this is going to be a little weird comment, but I've been married twice since I've been at Keller Williams, and my ex-wife, as well as my wife, Kristen, both have significant profit share coming in because of us focusing on this as a family. And so one of the things I'm most proud of, very personally, is that I was able to go through a very amicable divorce, and that I knew that partner was taken care of for life because of profit share, because of the gift this company had given. So even during some really tough times, it kind of jumped in to save us. I do have another very personal story about profit share that we can get into in a second, but I want to go back to, it wasn't until I truly had the experience that Keller Williams changed my life personally, that I understood how to talk to people about profit share or joining Keller Williams. Because what I saw happening, Press, was, people trying to recruit people to make money.
Yeah.
And we have some competitors today that's their whole mission, and God bless them, that doesn't work. And I've watched this for 20 years. If you're just recruiting, just like selling real estate, if you got commission breath the whole time, not going to work. If you're just recruiting people to try and make money off them, that doesn't feel good after a while. So I had to truly experience the greatness that was Keller Williams and the difference it made in my life personally before I finally got it and went, oh, I can actually help change lives with this. Right. And not to bore you with all the details, but I had some tough challenges in my early days at Keller Williams and wasn't always sure I was going to stay, and, didn't have the best of experiences owning a market center and doing different things in the early days. And again, I made a lot of mistakes and failed my way forward in doing those things. Back in 2008, the market turned. The 5 different companies I was running at the time, including a market center, including a title business, an escrow, including a mortgage joint venture, including all those things, all were hit by the market downturn. And what you may not know about me is that my big why is my family. And I have paid the bills for or supported my immediate family for most of my adult life, whether it's my grandparents or my parents. My father's passed away, now my grandmother's passed away, but I still support my 96-year-old grandfather and my 72-year-old mother. And that's my big why. And then all the people around that. And so that's why I work. It's why I do what I do. And my favorite profit share story that always makes me cry. I'm not going to cry today on your podcast. Have you had anybody cry on your podcast yet?
Not yet.
You know what? Not
Okay.
yet.
We
Not
won't
yet.
start that.
You can
We
be
won't
the
start that
first.
tradition. No, we won't start that tradition. So I'll take you back to 2008, 9, and 10. My grandmother was seriously ill. She had kidney failure. I was talking to every nephrologist in the country on how to help. Like I thought I could jump in and study the kidney and help her. She was on dialysis. My grandfather's a veteran, so they had as cheap veteran VA cost as you could get, and it was $400 a month to keep her on dialysis. And I was flat broke. All the businesses were going down. It was a really tough time on me personally. I was having to feed market centers money. I was having to feed all the businesses money every month, and I had $13,000 a month I had to pay the banks on a bunch of leveraged real estate properties that I had bought when they gave you free money all the time. So long story short, I literally had to look my grandmother in the eyes and say, I don't know if I can cover your dialysis this month, while she's literally in the last phase of her life. And lo and behold, I always say this to me, and I don't want to make it weird, but this to me was a God thing. This was a moment in time. Many of us have had these moments, and wherever you give it credit, to me, on the day I believed I couldn't make the payment for dialysis, I received enough in profit share, about $408. It was $8 more than the cost of the dialysis, and immediately I was able to pay for that. My grandmother lived an additional 3.5 years, almost 4 years after that moment. And the story there was, I had been so selfish in how I thought about business and how I thought about this amazing gift that Keller Williams has given me, that I wasn't waking up every day going, how do I share this with other people? How do I help other people? Because it's not the profit share. It's not the passive income. It's not, I promise you today, Linda, the $60,000 a year is not the driving force. And it's wonderful. That money all goes to charity, by the way. So it's not that it's adding to my lifestyle or any of those things. What's amazing about this experience is helping people discover what they can accomplish in Keller Williams and how Keller Williams actually changes who you are. Keller Williams is not, this is what I stole this from someone, but Keller Williams is not about what you get. It's about who you become. And that is truly my experience and my path.
So true, Mark. And that's one of the things we teach in our profit share program. And we just tell everyone is, you're going to build wealth, yes, but you're doing it while you change lives. It's a byproduct of, changing people's lives. And, I love your story because we tell our students all the time, look, you don't know what profit share is going to step in the gap of but it will step in the gap of something at some point. You just
Yep.
got to believe in it long enough for them and just focus on changing lives. And then a need or something will come up in your life later that profit share will be perfectly designed for. And in your case, it was your grandmother, which is a phenomenal story.
And that story's played out multiple times. There's been times with my own father where I had to help bail him out, literally on some areas.
Do we have the same relatives?
We do. We come from the same family, but profit share has stood in the gap a lot of times in my life, and the education and training. And here's the analogy that I'll give you. I'm from Kansas City, and we're pretty prideful about our barbecue and especially about our beef in Kansas City. And I don't know that it's true, but it's one of those things where if you're from Kansas City has the best barbecue, and the Chiefs are the best football team. It's just what we believe. I did travel. I did move 8 times for different roles in this company. And I ended up in St. Louis, which wasn't that far from Kansas City, but I couldn't find a good steak. And I finally found this amazing 9-ounce coffee cured filet, medium rare with a little plus that just melts in your mouth. It's the best steak I've ever had. It was a little restaurant inside of a hotel in St. Louis. It was just amazing. It was awesome. I've sold 1,000 steaks for this company, and never once have they ever given me a free steak or a pat on the back or my name's not on the wall or anything else. The reason I've sold so many steaks is I tell the story everywhere. It's the most amazing steak, and I've stopped using their name because they won't give me free steak. But here's the point. The point is, when Keller Williams has the same effect on you as that steak does, think about it. When you see a great movie, you tell everybody about it, right? Mm-hmm. When you have an amazing steak, you tell everybody about it. When a company changes your life and you learn leadership skills and you grow a business and you get your passive income to above your active income and you start thinking differently about your life and change your family tree, that's what Keller Williams does for you. And when it does that, you can't hide it. You can't help it. Share it. And that's when people really explode their profit share. So
yeah. And Mark, something you said earlier when you said, things weren't going that well in the beginning and, you probably even had thoughts of leaving. Yep. I love that you're honest about that, because I think we all at some point, get frustrated because the progress isn't happening as fast as we think or whatever. But what I've discovered is if Keller Williams isn't changing somebody's life, they're not leaning into enough stuff, because there is enough opportunities, because it is where entrepreneurs thrive. And you're one of the most beautiful stories of starting at the very bottom and, literally getting all the way to the top. And I think you're one of the best presidents we've ever had because of that reason, because you do remember each role that you performed in this company, and you haven't lost touch with that. But I would always say to people is you have to be so committed and believe in it so much that you are going to find the place and the ways that it can change your life. Because I don't know how it could not change everybody's, but if it's not, it's because you're either choosing to not lean all the way in, not to look for where your opportunity is and where your uniqueness can be paid at the highest level. And profit share, I think, is one of those things where it really brings significance into a role that you're already doing. But when you have people with tears in your eyes look at you and say, thank you, you changed my life and you changed my family's life. I mean, if whoever recruited you to the company, if they could hear your story and not get chill bumps or goosebumps and think, man, thank God I talked to Mark, thank God I was willing to at least have a conversation with him. So I love that you were honest about that. And
I have a fun story about that real quick. And thank you for your kind words. I feel like the biggest screw up in the company. And it's because I've been in so many roles for so long. This is like Disneyland for realtors. And there's nothing you can't do here. But I'm a great example of somebody who screwed up as an agent until I figured it out, screwed up as a team leader until I figured it out, screwed up as an RD, OP, just all the roles until you figure it out. And the grace that this company gives you, and I jokingly say that the way you get promoted around here is to go screw up. But it's really been a dream come true. And I bleed Keller red. I know it's weird. And, people accuse me of being, talking about Keller Williams like it's a cult, and I get all those fun things, but this company truly changed my life. And I'm unabashedly unashamed to admit it. I want to go back to something that I think is really important. And this is gonna sound a little bit weird, so hang with me for a second. the McKissicks don't need to wake up tomorrow and continue to drive these businesses. They don't need to wake up tomorrow and make more money. I don't need to wake up tomorrow and drive more profit share growth in the company, do any of those things. This is not about, I don't mean this to sound the way it's sounding like this is not about money at all, but our passive income is more money than we need to live for the rest of our lives. And we will give most of that money to charity. So my question back to you, Linda, and then I'll answer, but why do you do this? Why are you, I mean, your passive income from your real estate investments, your profit share, your business ownership is a lot of money. Why do you keep doing this?
Well, because to me, it's about the significance of letting other people have the same opportunities that I've had, change lives. I'm using my unique abilities to help other people come along a journey that has been a super successful journey for myself. And I believe other people should believe they can do it and can do it. And honestly, it's the most fulfilling and rewarding time in my life. And when you bring value to the world, you cannot keep the money away. It's not possible. And yeah, in my early days, I was just trying to get us out of $600,000 in debt. But when you get past that and you realize if I'll just wake up every day and be a giver and figure out how to fill other people's gaps, and with value, the money will come. I don't have to worry about the money.
You know, that is so true. I consider myself to be standing on the shoulders of giants. And I work with Gary Keller every day, and he is the hardest working person that I've ever worked with. And we could ask the same thing. Why do you wake up every day and work this hard? And the reality is he still has more to give. He believes what he teaches. We believe what he teaches and what we teach, right? And so it's that servant heart that you just can't get away from. I actually whistle to work. I love what I do. And now I look up and go, you mentioned starting at the bottom, going to the top. I think I started at the bottom and made it all the way to the very bottom, meaning I have 200,000 families that depend on me every day to make the best decisions, to do the right things, to help them succeed in their local markets, and 57 countries around the world and all those fun things, right? And so I think we share a servant's heart. We see what's possible, what this has done. I try and get all my friends and family into this. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
This has been the most amazing ride of my life. I consider myself to be very fortunate and lucky to have found Keller Williams. And my funny story about the person who recruited me to Keller Williams was actually with Keller Williams for 1 week and recruited me. I came in, I met with someone else. I named them as my sponsor. They ended up they stayed in the system somehow at a different market center for 3 years. They vested, retired. They were with Keller Williams for 1 week. And I believe last time I saw their profit share since that day has been $100,000 a year or more. So you're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
I love that. I love it because without that introduction was worth millions of dollars to that person.
Yeah,
For sure.
So Mark, in wrapping up and closing out for the podcast today, you've had a lot of experience through this company, you've been in a lot of different roles. What final thoughts do you want to leave people with about taking advantage of profit share inside of this company?
It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's not about how you wake up tomorrow and you call 3 friends and you try and get them in front of somebody and this is not that. This is truly, I might be the first person to give this advice on your podcast, but I'm going to go back to the age old, put your mask on first in the airplane analogy. You have to truly experience what Keller Williams is in order to truly maximize your profit share. Mm-hmm. So the very first step to building your profit share is read this book. Mm-hmm. Go implement the strategies and the conversation and the models of this book. Go build a significant real estate team. You're much more attractive to everybody around you the bigger team you build anyway. And what I found is I got to be the number 1 team in my market and still wasn't taking advantage of profit share at all because I didn't see the value in it. And I didn't know why I needed an extra couple dollars a month. And it wasn't about the money until I realized, wait a minute, the knowledge from this book, the learning from that many years is what helped change my life forever. So it's a marathon, not a sprint. You have to experience it first. If you're an investor in a market center, if you're a coach, if you're any of the 100 different roles in our Disneyland for real estate entrepreneurs, then go experience it first. I want you to think selfishly and go take everything this company has to offer. And then you can't help but share it with everyone. And what will happen is almost magically, like at Disneyland, what will happen is your passive income and your profit share starts to grow because you're infectious. You can't help it.
Love that. Love that. Press, any final thoughts from you?
I was just going to say, for those who are listening and are wondering what the heck book is Marc talking about, he's obviously talking about the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Red Book.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I forgot. Not everybody can see me. Yeah, the MREA.
Yep. And go build relationships with agents who don't know how to implement that book and help them implement that book, and you'll change their life in several ways. One, by bringing them to KW, and two, by introducing them to the best real estate book that's ever been written.
Well, and Linda, one other quick thought that I just want to share. We talk, Marc, a lot about how every person you bring into this company is kind of like a lottery ticket. You never know. And so I just want to remind everyone, the next Marc King, the next future president of our company, is probably an agent and may or may not even be with our company yet. So you just never know of whose life you're impacting, and then the legacy that they're going to go and live out inside of our company.
Yep. Fantastic. Love that. Remember, if you have not, please hit the subscribe button and pass this podcast along to every Keller Williams agents that you know. Let's get the word about profit share out. Let's make sure we change lives. And if we'll go change lives, the money will show up. So Marc, thank you. We appreciate everything you do. We know how hard you guys work up there in the big, what I call the big house. And I wouldn't trade spots with you for $1 million, but I appreciate what you guys get up every day and do. So thank you so much.
Thank you for doing what you're doing. I appreciate both of you. Thanks, Press. Thanks, Linda.
Awesome. Thanks, Marc.